Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about the cyber law. So in this lecture we are going to learn about further points that are the outline of the lecture is introduction of the cyber law. We will see need of cyber law in India, that is history of the cyber law, cyber crime, categories of cyber law, important definition as per the government or IT Act, and the various sections of IT Act 2000 and Amendment 2008. So let's begin. So India has witnessed a 457% rise in cyber crimes. Okay, incidents under Information Technology Act 2000 from the year 2011 to 2016. So the number is increases very, and this number is very huge. Okay, for the cyber crime in between the 5 years 11 to 2016, this number is data is given by the NASSCOM. After that, India is becoming vulnerable in digital world due to combination of digital illiteracy and immaturity. Okay, so the main reason behind this vulnerable or getting vulnerable, okay, that is a digital illiteracy. Okay, no, or many people are not much more known about these types of attacks or this type of crimes. So therefore increasingly diverse barrage of cyber attacks. And if we think about the whole world, then overall from the world 3% of the total systems across the world is controlled by the criminals, and India is also in this number of attacks. Okay, so all the criminals are controlling the 3% of total systems. If we calculate the whole system, then from that system 3% are controlled by the criminals. So why these attacks are increasing? Okay, and to control these attacks there is a cyber law. Okay, law for governing the cyberspace. Okay, what is cyber law? That cyber law means to control or to govern the cyberspace. Cyberspace is all the systems. Okay, in that all the connectivity, communications, network devices, computer, mobiles, all the world of the cyber is under the cyberspace. So to govern this cyberspace, we generated cyber law, or the cyber law is there. So cyberspace is the environment for communication over the computer networks within a nation boundary. It includes computer network, software, storage devices, the internet, websites, email, ATM, cell phones, etc. All these things are coming under the cyberspace world. And to govern this cyberspace world or this cyber world, there is a cyber law. So an introduction, an idea, a person, a thing can be described with prefix cyber if involved in digital world as a part of computer and information age. The word cyber is derived from the Greek word cybernetics, which means statesman or governor. Okay, this is the word derived from the Greek, and in the Greek that meaning of the word is governor, or some observer also we can say. So the word is first introduced by the Norbert Wiener. Cyberspace is a virtual world created over the internet. The cyberspace word is a virtual. Okay, the cyber laws are the laws to governing this area. To govern, to observe this, or to control all these crimes. Okay, there is a cyber law which is govern this cyberspace. So this is the introduction. So cyber law is the branch of the law to dealing the legal issues concerned with the information technologies and cyberspace and governing the computers and the internet. Okay, so what is the cyber law? It is a branch of the law which dealing with the legal issues with information technology and the cyberspace to govern the computers and the internet. Okay, to govern all these things there is a cyber law. It is a branch one, you can say. So why we need a cyber law? Okay, and why there is a need of the cyber law? Due to more and more digitally sophistication there is a crimes. Okay, crimes are increasing in the digital world. Okay, how we are using, or the number of users, or the increasing of the mobile use of the use of the internet. So as per these numbers are increasing, okay, there is crimes in this world are also getting increases. Okay, so to control these crimes there is cyber law we need. That is the main objective. So the objective of internet we'll see the one by one points. Okay, the objective of the internet is initially a tool for information sharing and research. Okay, main objective of internet, why the internet is used, mainly initially a tool for information sharing and research, to collect the information, to research the information. We use internet in a early days. Okay, that's why internet is invented. But now the use of the internet is increases. Okay, we can use for the e-governance, e-business, e-commerce, e-procurement, etc. And the many things are there. That's why for that we are using the internet. Okay, these are the only officials, but without internet nothing is there. Okay, nowadays every time we need a internet. Okay, so therefore cyber law are dealing with the all legal issues related to the internet crimes are deal. Okay, so why, if the users are increasing, the of course their crimes in that field will also increases. So to dealing with this all, okay, there are legal issues are also there. So to related with this, we need a cyber law. Okay, so to deal with these related issues, okay, and internet crimes, we need a cyber law. Next, almost all the cyber users are affected by cyber law in today's highly digital world. Okay, so all the users are affected by the cyber law in this digital world. Why? Because we need a cyber law in a transaction. If we are doing the transactions, that is a e-commerce, or we are transferring the monies, there is also we need a cyber. Uh, the chances of cyber crimes are also there increases. Okay, e-governance, if we are using the government's sites or government's things, okay, then also we need a protection from the cyber crimes. After that, computer networks. So almost all the users, okay, who are using these all these things, okay, so for them we need a cyber law. Okay, if we are using the computer networks, if valuable data in the electronic form, credit card also there, emails are also there, income tax returns, cell phones, SMS message, online banking, online share trading, frauds, online share trading, to govern all these things, or to govern all these things, if anyone is using any service from this all, okay, they need a cyber law, because in this all fields the number of cyber crimes are very much increases. So that's why we need a cyber law also to govern these things. Okay, or to who are using these services, to them we need a cyber law. So why cyber law? Cyber crime, if we see, there is a structure or there is a data. In 2014, the cyber crimes listed, okay, that 9,622 cases are registered in 2014. So this is the counter of the cyber law. In 2015, the number is increases, that is 11,592, and in 2016 the number also increases, then the number is 12,317. So the year, day by day, you can say the crimes are increases and the registered cases are also, this is the numbers of registered cases. Okay, so count, cyber crime counting is increases day by day. Okay, in 2014, 15 and 16. So this is the data from the NCRB statistics. Okay, so to control this also we need a cyber law. So need of cyber law, or need for the cyber law, to development of department about cyber forensics. So where the cyber attacks or investigation is going on in cyber forensic, to develop the department also we need the training of the users, therefore the develop infrastructure for it, establishment of forensic lab, to establish forensic lab also we need a cyber law. Enforce judiciary of on the methodology and procedure about the digital evidences. Training academy of CBI, okay, establish a training lab for cyber forensics. So to control or to do these all government related things, also we need a cyber law. Next, the following agencies are involved to provide basic and advanced training for the cyber law. Okay, so there are some agencies who are provided the basic and advanced training, that is a CERT, that is Indian Computer Emergency Response Team. CDAC, that is Center for Development of Advanced Computing. DSCI, that is Data Security and Council of India. NASSCOM. Okay, these are the institutes who provide the training for the cyber law. After that, cyber law in India. In India, how the cyber law is invented and the history we will see. So the IT Act is the second law in the India governing the field of IT 2000. Okay, this is the second law in India which is governing in India and which established in 2000. That is the IT Act 2000. The first one was in year 1885, and that was the Indian Telegraph Act in 1885. The first recorded cyber crime incident is believed to be recorded in the year 1820. Okay, so the first law was invented, that is in India, that is in 1885, the Indian Telegraph Act. Okay, Indian Telegraph Act. On that year or in that era, there is no internet. Okay, so that's why not much use of the computer. No network was established or invented. So that's why the Telegraph Act was there. Okay, because many more are using telegraph. So the first recorded case against this is in 1820. Okay, the first recorded cyber crime incident is believed to be recorded in year 1820. So and after that 1820, in 1885 the law was invented, that is the Indian Telegraph Act. Okay, and in year 2000 there is a IT Act. Okay, which is second law in Indian governing in the field of the IT or cyber, we can say. So why cyber law in India? Okay, cyberspace is completely different sphere of the human existence. Okay, it is a completely different from the human existence. No regards for any government or territory. No facilitated international norms. Okay, cyber law need to be specific. Convention law will muddle up to cyber law structure. Okay, cyber law. So to control this cyberspace or to control this cyber world, okay, we need something. Okay, that's why the cyber law in India we establishes. So the cycle for cyber law, how the cyber law actually work. So the law practice is there. After that, law practice. So cyber forensic, FTK in case, links. Okay. So if any crime is there, so how that crime is going, that crime is, if the case is registered, then that case is going from this phase. Okay, that is the law practice. After that, cyber forensic. So these are the tools which are used for the investigation. After that, we need cyber security and IT expert. Okay, who is expert in this field? Okay, cyber security expert, cyber law expert, IT expert. That is also one of the growing field in the IT industry, that is a cyber security expert, ethical hacker, we can say IT expert, which we need to control or to guide these things. So after that, evidence and investigation. So after case register, we need evidence and investigations. After that, cyber law, which law is actually apply for that crime. Okay, so that is a cycle for the cyber law. After that, history of the cyber law in India. Okay, so what is history? The motivation of the cyber law in India is the model law of electronic commerce, adopted the model law on electronic commerce on international trade law on 30 January 1997 by General Assembly of United Nations as a resolution. So in United Nations, okay, we all know the United Nations. The first law which is invented in established or passed, that is in 1997, 30 January 1997 in United Nations in General Assembly, the Electronic Commerce on International Trade Law was adopted. So this law or the law is regarding to the electronic commerce or the electronic forms to control these all things. Okay, so from the motive of United Nations, India also established. Okay, the outcome of this resolution is we pass the IT Act. Okay, so United Nations recommended for its member state. Okay, United Nations is this is recommend all this law to his member states. Okay, all the countries from the United Nations. Okay, all the countries are the members of the United Nations. Okay, so United Nations recommended to for member states. Okay, so in July 1988, the Department of Electronics in India, okay, the Department of Electronic in India drafted the bill. Okay, okay, so in India one bill is drafted and the bill is passed and the IT Act implemented in 2000. Okay, so in 2000, after 1988, okay, the bill July 1988, the bill passed, and in 2000 we follow, or the IT Act is established in India, that is the IT Act 2000. Okay, and the amendment in 2008, that is the IT Act implemented in 2000 and the IT Act amendment in 2008. So that is a history, little bit history about the cyber law, how the motive we get from the cyber from the United Nations, and how we pass the bill, and in which year we drafted the IT Act. So cyber law in India, so it added many other acts and status, that is the Indian Penal Code, that is the IPC, the Evidence Act, the Code of Criminal Procedure, and many others. So there are many things in the cyber law, and many IPCs, many evidence acts like that. Many terms are there. So so there are many added things. Okay, acts and status in cyber law in India. So synoptic view of the classification of cyber crimes. Okay, as per the cyber crimes, okay, there is a synoptic view. Just classify that classification of cyber crime. Okay, how we classify the cyber crimes? Okay, it can classify in the three main things, that is crimes against person and individuals, crimes against property, crimes against the state and society. Okay, we can classify. Okay, because these three main things are affected because by the cyber law. Okay, the cyber crime or the cyber attack is done on these three main things of the society. Okay, that may be the person or individual, that may be on the property, or that may be on the crimes against the state and the society. So what things are coming under the cyber crimes against the person or individuals? So that is the harassment via email. If someone is doing email continuously or harass someone, then that is also one crime. Okay, so there are many things which we don't know, or which uh, or for which we are unaware, that are also crimes. Okay, there are many small things also in cyberspace. Okay, so we will discuss that further. But if harassment via email, it is also including cyber against person. Cyber stalking is their dissemination of obscene material, defamation, unauthorized control, access over the computer system, indecent exposure and internet time theft, email spoofing, pornography, including child pornography. So all these things are against the person and the individuals. So this all someone if doing with the person and the individual these things, then this comes under also cyber law. Next is cyber crime against property. The property, in that property maybe the computer systems are there, some property, intellectual properties are there also. Okay, some documentation is also including this. Okay, mobiles, all this cyber world things or the properties are coming under these crimes. Okay, so which crimes are that? That is computer vandalism, virus transmission is also one of the crime, denial of services attacks. Denial of services attack, we have seen the term denial of services. Okay, that type of any cyber attacks are also there. So unauthorized access over the computer systems. Okay, someone is accessing your computer unauthorizedly, that is also some cyber crime. Intellectual property right. Okay, intellectual property right, that is a copyright act, that is also under the cyber crimes. Financial scams, frauds, sale of illegal articles, hacking. So all these things coming under the crime against the property. Next is crime against the state and society. So intention to extract secret information from the computer system. If any country or any state is extracting or stealing someone or other state's information, okay, from his system, then that is also coming under the cyber crime. Cyber terrorism is also coming under this state and society, because the crimes against the state and society we are including, there are points, okay, and separating as per the person, property and the states. Okay, There is cyber terrorism, distribution of private material, polluting youth through indecent exposure, illegal human trafficking online, sale of illegal article, illegal human trafficking online. Okay, that is also one of the cyber attack. Okay, so uh, to sending the traffic on the any website. Okay, so that is also one of the cyber crime. Sale of illegal articles, online gambling, which is because the online gambling or the gambling is illegal in India. So that's why if online gambling someone doing, then that is also a crime or the cyber crime. After that, unauthorized control over the computer system. So these are the synoptic view of the classification of cyber crimes. Okay, we classify in the three terms, that is a person, property, and individual, and the states. Next is types of cyber law in India. So the type of cyber law is the act can be broadly classified into three aspects. Okay, we can classify that act in a three aspect. That is the IT Act 2000. That act we can classify in administrative, civil issues, criminal, and penal. So what is the administrative part? So the administrative part is who are the controllers. Okay, so that is the recognizing e-commerce. Okay, legal enforceability and authentication of electronic documents, methodology and processes, a special educating officer in cyber law appellate tribunal, the role of duties and therein. So all the administrative parts, okay, who are the controllers, we can say, they can also be included in the cyber crime, and they are under the administrative part. If someone recognizing e-commerce, someone is the, we can say, for example, a special educating officer, okay, and the cyber law appellate tribunal. So all the people are the coming under the administrative part. After that, civil issues. So the civil issues are the civil aspects that run the parallel to administrative ventures of the IT Act, describe what constitutes civil infringement of the rights and prescribe civil duties. After that, criminal and penal. So recognize and provide for penal measures against the cyber crime in cyberspace, digital crimes or the crimes against the computer resource, related issues to redress, monitor, restrict, investigate cyber crimes is also provided herein. So these are the types of cyber law. After that, IT Act 2000. So what is the IT Act 2000? It recognizes the cardinal philosophy of cyber disputes. Computers can be abused and computers are weapon as well as victims. So the term computer has a wide amplitude in a view of IT Act. So computers are both, they can be abused and they are as well weapons as well as victim. Okay, they may be weapons and they may be the victims. So what is computer? In section 2 of the act defines. So there is a definition of the computer in section 2 of the IT Act 2000. So the computer means any electronic, magnetic, optical or other high speed data processing device or system which perform logical, arithmetic and memory functions by manipulations of electronic, magnetic or optical impulses, and include all input, output, processing, storage, computer software or communication facilities which are connected or related to computer in a computer system or computer network. So this is the definition which given in IT Act 2000 in section 2. As per the definition, they include all the things in the computer definition. So the electronic, magnetic, storage, logical arithmetic operations, all these things are there, they included, and this is the definition as per the IT Act. Next is a computer network. Okay, so the last one is related to the computer in a computer system or computer network. Okay, so communication facilities they given which are the related to the computer and computer network. So what is computer network? So computer network is a connection between the single or multiple computer through, okay, the use of communication media using the terrestrial lines, microwave, satellites, etc. And second, the terminal consisting of various one or more mutually connected computers, whether the interconnection is continuously maintained or not. We can say the computer in a in simple language, that is where two or more computers connected to each other, but they given the definition proper, that is the connection between the single or multiple computer through the use of communication media, and the second one, that terminal consisting of the various mutual connected computers. Okay, that is the definition of the computer network. Computer system. Computer system means the device or collection of devices including input, output support devices and excluding calculators which are not programmable and capable of being used in a conjunction with external files which contain computer programs, electronic instructions, input data and output data that perform logical, arithmetic, data storage and retrieval, communication, control and other functions. So computer system is what is meant by computer we have seen, but computer system means it is a device and a collection of devices which include input, output and support devices. Okay, the calculators are not included in this computer system because they are not programmable. Okay, so computer calculators are not included in this definition. So they in that the computer programs, okay, the electronic instructions, input output which perform all these operations, okay, that is called computer systems. So the new amendment also defines, so these are the definitions are defined under ID Act 2000. Okay, so in the new amendment they also define some definitions which are in 2008. Okay, so in 2008 they also added some definition like cyber cafe, electronic signature, computer communications devices, cyber security and Indian search. So what are the what are the definitions of these terms? Okay, we will see one by one. So in facility, any facility from where access to the internet is offered by any person in the ordinary course of business to the members of the public. So this is the definition of the cyber cafe where we access the internet. Okay, that definition is as per the section 2 1NA of IT Act 2000. After that, cyber security. Okay, so protecting information, equipment, devices, computer resources, communication devices, and information stored therein from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, or restriction. This is the definition of the cyber security. Next is the data. So representation of information, knowledge, facts, concept or instruction which are being prepared or have been prepared in a formalized manner and is intended to be processed, is being processed or has been processed in a computer system or computer network and may be in form, okay, including computer printouts, magnetic or optical storage media, punch card, punch tapes or store internally in the memory of the computer. This is the definition of the data as per the IT Act section 210 of IT Act 2000. Okay, so in this definition they included all the things regarding to the data of the computer devices. Digital signature. Authentication of any electronic recorded by subscriber by means of electronic method or procedure in accordance with the provisions of section 3. This is the definition of digital signature. After that, electronic form with reference to information means any information generated, sent, received or stored in media, magnetic, optical, computer memory, microfilm, computer generated microfiche or similar devices. After that, key pair. So in key pair there are two keys. Okay, public key, private key. We have seen in the last lecture that definition of the public key and private key. So key pair and asymmetric crypto systems means a private key and its mathematical related public key, which are so related to that public key can verify a digital signature created by the private key. Okay, private key and the public key. Public key used to verify the digital signature. Okay, we used to verify the things. Okay, that is a definition as per the section 21X of IT Act 2000. Okay, that is a key pair. Originator, a person who send, the generate, store and transmit any electronic message or cause any electronic message to be sent, generated, stored and transmitted to any other person but does not include an intermediary. Without the including intermediary, no one is in between them who directly send or who basically first send, who generate actually, that person we can say originator, who send, generate the message. Okay, that is a definition of the originator. After that, private key and public key, we will see all we have seen this fastly because we know about these terms. Okay, but these definitions, why I am telling you, because these definitions are as per the IT Act. Okay, so that is in section 2 they define all the definitions of these terms. So private key means the key of the key pair which is used to create a digital signature, and a public key is a key pair or key which is used to verify a digital signature listed in the digital signature certificate. Okay, private key which is used to create digital signature, and public key which is used to verify digital signature. So these are the two terms. So that what is secure system? Secure system means a computer hardware, software and the procedure that are so reasonable, secure from unauthorized access and misuse. Okay, so what is the secure system? One by one, which is the secure from unauthorized access and misuse, which is provide a reasonable level of reliability and correct operations, which is a reasonable suited for to performing the intended functions and adhere to generally accepted security procedures. So which system is in this point or including in this point, that system is known as the secure system as per the section 2 in 2000 IT Act. After that, section 4 is regarding, we will move forward for the sections. Okay, we will see various sections in the IT Act. So section 4 is legal recognition of electronic record. Okay, according to this section, if any information is required in a printed or written form under any law, the information provided in electronic form which is accessible so as to be usable for subsequent use shall be deemed to satisfy the requirement of presenting the document in the printing or writing form. A general provision of recognizing electronic document. To recognize, to know the electronic documents. Okay, so that's why they provide the sections 4. Okay, and as per the section 4 we can recognize the electronic record. So a general provision for the recognizing electronic document, there is a section 4 in IT Act. Okay, electronic document means any we can say electronic form which is electronic document in the form of written or printed. Okay, that is a electronic, in the electronic form, that is we can say electronic record. Okay, or electronic document, which is in simple language we say soft copies. Okay, so that is a section for electronic records. After that, section 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is related to the e-governance. So in section 5, the legal recognition of electronic signature, we say we have seen that in section 4 it is for the electronic records, section 5 legal recognition for the electronic signatures. After that, section 6 is use of e-records and signatures in government and its agencies. Section 7, that is retention of electronic record and audits. Section 8 for the publication of rules and regulation in e-gazette. Okay, rules and regulation which are presenting, okay, or which are required to publish e-gazette, okay, that are in the section 8. Okay, just remember, because this information is very useful. This is a little bit boring maybe because it is not practical, but the information or the all these sections which I am going to telling you are the very important information, because no one is or many people are don't know about this. Okay, so the ninth one, no right to claim and insist on electronic document. Section 10, central government retains the power to make rules with respect to e-signature type, manner, format and process. So what are the rules for the e-signatures that is described by the central government are included in the section 10. So these are the sections regarding to the e-governance which are included in the e-governance. After that, section 11 and 12, which are regarding to the receipt and acknowledgement. Okay, which are as per the receipt and acknowledgement. We will see section 11. It discusses about the attributor, which is the sender of electronic record, that is sender himself or by a person authorized by the other or by an auto response duly programmed on behalf of other. Okay, the sender or the attributor is defined. Who is the attributor? They define there in section 11. And the section 12 discuss the receipt of acknowledgement where nothing has been stipulated. Any communication from the addressee, automated or otherwise, any conduct of the addressee that proves sufficiently. However, conditions may be imposed by the attributor via email, footer and statement therein. anyone or any communications or in any acknowledgement, we need a receipt or acknowledgement. Okay, because it is important as per the section 12. Okay, if you are doing the transaction, then it is compulsory to take a receipt, or it is compulsory to the addressee or the sender, okay, or the originator to give a receipt to the customer or the person, oh, as per the section 12. After that, other important sections are section 16, central government to prescribe security procedures. Okay, section 17 to 34, appointment and regulations of controller and the certifying authority. Okay, so appointment and regulations, okay, for the certify authority, who will be the and how they will be appointed. Okay, so that all these things are including in section 17 and 34, who are the authority or the who are the authorized person, or who are the some controllers. Okay, so this is under section 17 to 34, and the all security procedure are under section 16. After that, section 35 to 39 is obtaining the digital signature certificate. Okay, as digital signature certificate is how it will be made. All these things are described in the section 35 to 39. Section 40 to 42, duties of subscriber of DSC exercise due care to retain the private key. So this is defined in the section 40 to 45. After that, administrative character. So it is one of the important the administrative character or the controller, we can say. Okay, so the in section 44, the penalty for failure to furnish information, return, etc., appointment and the function of educating officer, power and the function of cyber law appellate tribunal. Okay, all these things, okay, regarding to the furnish information, failure to furnish information, penalty to failure furnish information, appointment of the educating officer. Okay, how to appoint, or what are the rules for the all these things, to powers of functioning of the cyber law and appellate tribunal. So all these things are under the section 44. In section 61, civil code excluded from jurisdiction. Okay, in section 46, 21C, educating officer. For the administrative character, who are the administrator? Okay, for them this law and these sections are important, which is the section 44, section 61 and section 46. After that, offenses in gist. One of the important section in this IT Act, that is the section 43, which is earlier a simple civil provision. No, now a civil and many and may amount to a penal offense under section 66 if a fraudulent or dishonest means rea is established. It relates to access to computer without the permission of the computer owner. It penalizes any sort of unauthorized access or assistance. If someone is accessing someone computer or someone any electronic device without knowing him, okay, which we can say unauthorized access, which is offenses, or it can be penalized by the section 43. We in once a life we can access, or we can try to access friends mobiles or computer system without knowing him. Okay, so that is one of the crime as per the section 43, and which is the important section. Without or unauthorized access without knowing the person, if you are accessing the device, okay, it may be the computer they given here, that is offensible or under the section 43. After that, section 43 in a nutshell. Okay, what section 43 we will describe. So whoever without permission of owner of the computer, that is a secure disrupt access of computer or resource or network. Okay, anyone who access of computer resource and networks, who downloads copies and extract any data, okay, without permission. If you are downloading copies and extract any data, introduces or causes to be introduced or any virus or containment. Okay, and if you are spreading, or if you are introduce any virus in his system without knowing him, damages or causes to be damage any computer resource, not only access, but all these things are under the section 43, which is the important. Okay, damaging the computer resource, destroy, alter, delete, add, modify, or rearrange, changes the format of file. We don't know, unaccident or accidentally we are doing all these things, okay, with permission. But if you are doing without permission these all things, then that is a crime under section 43. Okay, without knowing him, if you are changing the format of file, destroying or altering or modifying the files, also it is crime. Disrupt or causes disruption of any computer resources, preventing normal continuance of computer. Or in 43A, section 43A, they given the failure to protect data. If failure to protect data is also important, this last one is also I given in the red, that is a failure to protect data, because failure to protect data is important. And if someone company or someone is given services to secure your data, that they given the promise or the service to secure your data, but if they are failed to protect your data, then it is a crime, or you can take them into the under section 43. Okay, it is a section 43 which describe failure to protect data. If someone given you the promise to protect data but it getting failed, then it is a under 43A a crime. So that is important section, that is a 43. Some other important points, that is a section 65 is tampering with computer source document. Okay, section 65, that is tampering with computer source and document, that is a one crime. And it the punishment or the punishment for this crime is imprisonment up to 3 years or fine up to 2 lakhs or both. In section 66 penalizes any contravention under section 43 if carried out with a fraudulent or dishonest motive. Okay, if you are by the fraudulent or dishonest motive, or if you are accessing by the dishonest motive anyone system, in this section 66 there is a imprisonment up to 3 years or fine up to 5 lakhs or both. In 66A, punishment for sending offensive message through communication services. Any message if you are sending offensive, it is also crime under 66A, that is offensive or menacing or false or for the purpose of annoyance, inconvenience, ill will, etc. are the crime against the 66A. So for that there is a punishment or the imprisonment up to 3 years and with fine. Some other points are 66B, that is a punishment for dishonestly receiving stolen computer resources. If anyone receive the stolen computer or resource, okay, information that is a stolen, okay, that is also one of the crime or punishment for the under section 66B or offensible under 66B. 66C punishes identity theft, okay, that is a password or such a unique identification, that is ID maybe. Okay, identity theft is also one of the crime. Under 66D punishes personating by means of computer resources. Under section 66E punishes violation for the privacy right. If anyone or any person or the system is who are violating the privacy rights, okay, all everywhere in the internet, in applications there is a privacy, and if someone violated that privacy, then it is a under punishable under section 66E. Just remember all these things. After that, section 66F punishes cyber terrorism, and this is the section for the cyber terrorism. After that, section 67A, that is punishment for publishing or transmitting of material containing sexually explicit act etc. in the electronic form. In the electronic form, if someone sending this type of the things or publishing this type of things, that is punishable under section 67A. So the punishment is a first conviction. There are two things they given, that is the first punishment and second conviction. In the first conviction, if that is a imprisonment at up to 5 years and fine up to 10 lakhs, that punishment may be the 5 years and there is a fine up to 10 lakhs. If that person or that thing they are doing again, okay, second time, then for the second time, that punishment for the 7 years and fine up to 10 lakh. Okay, so that is a thing for the section under section 67A. But there are some exception in section 67A. If you are transmitting this type of things for the arts, science and literature or other interest of learning and other cases, okay, there is an exception. If you are using this type of material for the art, science, literature or any other interest of learning and other cases, then it is exception for section 67A. So this is one of the important point in 67A, an important section of the IT Act. After that, 67B, section 67B, punishment for publishing or transmitting of material depicting children in sexually explicit act, etc. in the electronic form, read with or other subject tools. So for this, punishment is conviction or imprisonment up to 5 years first time, and fine is up to 10 lakhs, and in second time there is a 7 years punishment and the fine up to 10 lakhs. Some other important point are further, that is section 67C, that is preservation of retention of information by the intermediaries. That punishment is imprisonment up to 3 years and with fine. So the section 67C, that is the preservation and retention of the information by the intermediaries. Who are the intermediaries? The intermediaries are the any service provider, okay, internet service provider we can say, okay, or any service provider who serve the internet or the systems, okay. So if they are retentioning or preserving the information, okay, that is also one of the crime, and the punishment for that is 3 years and the fine with fine. After that, section 68, that is provision and punishment for the violation of order of the controller. If someone is a controller, okay, administrator for you, and if you are violating their orders, then that is also crime under section 68. Section 69, that is powers of the government to issue direction for monitoring, intercepting or decrypting any information through any computer resource. So the government has some rights, okay, some power under section 69 in IT Act. That is one of the important, the 69 and 69AB, these are the important sections in IT Act, which where the government has the permission to monitor, to intercept, to decrypt the information through any computer resource, from any computer resource. Government, if the condition is like that, then they can monitor that system, they can intercept in that system, okay, it may be private, it may be the public, okay, and they can decrypt the information from that system, because we can say many examples are there, okay, there is a crime, in that crime since if the government is involved, then the government has full right to access that system, we can say, okay, government has full right to access any computer system, any computer resources, okay, under section 69. In section 69A, that is a power for blocking public access, okay, power for blocking public access means if uh, there is some not good things are going on, or government think that we have to block the public access in that areas, okay. For example, we can say in Jammu and Kashmir, okay, there are blocked to use the internet, okay, the government block the internet access and some telephone somewhere, okay, so that is under section 69, okay, that government is block that public access they just want to lock the area from the internet. Okay, so that power has the government. In section 69b, power to authorize, monitor and collect traffic. Okay, that is also under section 69b. So this is the section 69 which is important and which describe the which powers government has in IT Act. After that, basically an administrative rights of the government and the provides for a punishment to violator, usually intermediaries who are in charge of such database or service provider. Okay, so administrative rights, who has the administrative rights? Okay, who are the intermediaries that provides the services to you? Okay, or the database services to you? Okay, they are the administrative, they have the administrative right. After that, some other section or other important point, that is section 71, penalty for mispresentation, misrepresentation before the controller or the certifying authority. If you are changing something, okay, then it is also one of the crime and it punishment for the 2 years and fine up to 1 lakh. After that, section 72, that is a penalty for breach of confidentiality and privacy, which is the provision of applied to those persons who are empowered under this act with such a database and or records. Anyone who is trying to access or trying to break the confidentiality and the privacy of the AIM system, then this is also one of the crime and the person is punished by the 2 years and fine up to 1 lakh or both. Okay, so this is the punishable under the section 72 if someone or anyone who is trying to break the confidentiality and the privacy of others. So after that, section 72A, the penalty for disclosure of information in a breach of lawful contract of private organization or such intermediaries working therein. Okay, so this is for the amendment to include even the employee of the private organization or the intermediaries. Okay, where the people are working. So it is a penalty for the disclosure of information in a breach of lawful contract. If someone or any intermediaries who are the service provider, if they are publish or they break the information of you, okay, which is the private information, then that is also break of the section 72A. After that section, it is punishable and it has the 3 years of the punishment and fine up to 5 lakh. Section 74, which is publication of signature or signature certificate for the fraudulent purpose. Okay, punishment is for the imprisonment up to 2 years and fine up to 1 lakh. Section 76, it provides for the confiscations of any related computer accessories, system part, etc. if the same is believed to be used in any violation of this act or rules. After that, section 77b, offences punishable with imprisonment up to 3 years to be bailable. Okay. After that, section 78, powers to investigate offences now available to inspector. Earlier, onus was the DSP rank officer or above. Section 79, I will tell that exemption of intermediaries and service provider if they establish that they have exercised due diligence on their part, an abusive provision for the ISP but often helpful. The 2009 notification makes it an offensive to even abet or attempt a cybercrime. Earlier, unsuccessful criminals always escape by the virtue to this gray area. Okay, this is against the exemptions of the intermediaries and the service provider if they establish that they have exercised due diligence on their part. After that, section 84b, that is punishment for the abatement. It is same punishment as described for the offences. Section 84c, that is punishment for the attempt. If anyone trying to attempt, then a maximum of 1/2 of the term of imprisonment provided for the offences or with fine as prescribed for the offence or both. Section 90, that is state government has power to make ally rules. Okay, if some state is thinking that they need some strong act or some need some other rules to make strong act IT act, then they can make the rules, okay, which are for the controlling of the IT act or to control the cyber crimes. So state government has some power to make the align rules. They can separately make the align rules, okay, in under section 90. After that, related applications of IPC, that is Indian Penal Code. So sending threatening message by email, that is under section 503 IPC, that is criminal intimidation. Sending defamatory message by email. So these are the all IPC, and we can punishable if someone break these rules, okay, or someone making these crimes, then that is under this section IPC. So section 499 finder IPC and simple imprisonment which may extend to for the 2 years and or fine. Okay, forgetting electronic records. It is also under section 463, 470 and 471 IPC. Simple imprisonment up to 7 year and fine. Email spoofing, sorry, bugs and website cyber frauds. Okay, cyber frauds. If someone website bugs, which is like phishing attacks. Okay, okay. Any website if has bugs, cyber frauds doing, then this is punishable under section 420 IPC, which has maximum imprisonment up to 7 year and or fine. Okay, we have seen that practical of the phishing attack in the last lecture, where we made the fake Facebook login page. If someone doing this type of attacks, then it is also punishable under the section 420 IPC. Image spoofing, section 416, 417 and 463. Under this act section, simple imprisonment which may extend to for the 2 years or the fine. Okay, that is a punishment for the image spoofing crimes under section 460, 417 and 463. Online sale of drugs. Okay, that is NDPC Act, which is a narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. Regress imprisonment 10 to 20 years and fined for 1 lakh to 2 lakh regardless to the quantity. Okay, which is the very important lakh which regarding to the online sale of drug. Okay, this type of things are happening by not the internet which we are using, but by the deep web or dark web, we can say. Okay, deep web and dark web, which are the terms, or the which is the dark side of the internet which we are using. Okay, that is a totally illegal, and in that type of internet these types of things are going on. Okay, so this is under online sale of drugs. After that, web jacking, that is extortion, under section 383 IPC. It is imprisonment which may extend to for 3 years or fine. If someone is web jacking, that is a extortion, asking for the extortion, then it is also punishable under the section 383 IPC. So one of the important act, that is the Evidence Act. The major highlight of the Evidence Act in view of the IT Act 2000 is that it is recognized in electronic evidence. So under section 65, it is most important to provision dealing with the specific provision on digital evidences. Section 65B, it provides for the detailed process for the analysis of the digital evidences in the question, and 65B4 requires a certificate from the examiner of the digital evidence. So this Evidence Act is one of the important, because the evidence are playing important role during the investigation. So the major highlight of the Evidence Act in a view of IT Act 2000. So the government shall notify who is the gazetted examiner for digital evidences under sections 79A of the IT Act, and the same provision is exclusive and it excludes all the other cyber forensics expert from entering this field under section 45 of the Evidence Act. So that is the Evidence Act. So which are the detailing tricks? Okay, so we have seen the all sections, important act types, and all information about the cyber law. This is the very short things, but there is a many deep subject. This is cyber law, which is governed to control the cyber crimes. Okay, so many sections are there, many things are there in cyber law. So which are the detailing tricks? Okay, so we will tell about this. That is, never alter the time clock. Okay, don't alter the time clock. Do not keep the PC infected with the virus and trojans. Okay, do not keep your PC, just update the viruses and remove your viruses from the PCs. uh, Keep your system updated with the antiviruses, okay, anti spywares, the malwares. Do not use the kernel modified forms of OS. Okay, use known applications, just use the authorized applications. Okay, mostly for the Android user, I will say, use the mostly applications which are on the Google Play. Okay, that is the known applications and the authorized applications. Do not keep the PC in defective mode. Don't do such a things where the your computer or the PC goes in the defective mode. Okay, use hardware that is not difficult to find. So these all are the detailing tricks which we have to follow. Okay, during the cyber law, and do such a things which are useful for you. No one will be harmed, okay, with your work. Okay, so we have to maintain all these things, okay, to keep updated from the cyber crimes. Okay, so just we have seen this little information about the cyber law. So, and the next thing is, never try any trick which is directly correlate with an attempt to destroy evidence. Okay, anyhow, don't try any trick which is correlate with an attempt to destroy evidence, because evidence play an important role, and if you are destroy the evidence, then you can also be a cybercrime, or it may be punishable. That is a destroying things or destroying evidence. Okay, that is a important point in a cyber law. So this much for the today's. Thank you.